We've talked about them enough on this channel, so let's skip the introductions. Around a year after releasing their fourth studio album, Iridescence, Brockhampton is back with another full-length release. This is my track-by-track review of Ginger. The opening song on Ginger is the fourth and final single from the album, and that is No Halo. When we talk about the general sound and feel for this album, this track is a pretty good indicator of what's to come. While the band members are trying to be hopeful, the song is still pretty sad. It's revolving around everyone's own specific struggles, whether that be mental health stuff, substance abuse, relationship troubles, and the list goes on. It doesn't exactly fit with how Kevin described the album to GQ, where he said that it's a feel-good summer album, but who knows. I think it's an interesting choice to lead with an intimate, sort of depressing song, because every other Brockhampton opening track is just a straight-up banger. Truth be told, this is kind of a sad banger, but sad nonetheless. Regardless of any context, I do think this is a really great song. Maybe not top tier Brockhampton, but it's close. Everyone delivers, no one feels out of place, and everyone contributing to this track is on the same page. The features from Ryan Beatty and Deb Never are strong, Matt's verse is above average, I think the harmonies on the chorus work wonders, Merlin's verse is repetitive, yes, but not to a fault. That line that he chooses to repeat is a good way to sum up this song in just a few words. Dom, Joba, and Bareface all deliver, and I think that last chorus is a solid way to fade this song out. The guitar on this instrumental is absolutely perfect, but if I had any complaints about this one, I think I would have gotten rid of one of the pre-choruses and choruses in the middle of the track. I think those make it drag just a little bit. Next we get to Sugar, and this is far and away my favorite song on the album. If you know what Brockhampton songs I tend to like the most, this checks all the boxes. This is reminiscent of stuff like Bleach and Rental, it's poppy, there's something nostalgic about it, and honestly, something about it makes me think of classic boy bands from the 90s too. It's a cute song about youth and relationships, and I think this is the melodic peak for Ginger. Everything is so cohesive and satisfying, and it's definitely making its way into my all-time favorite Brockhampton tracks. Again, we see another strong performance from Ryan Beatty. Dom and Matt deliver verses that are very much Dom and Matt verses, and this is the type of song where Bareface seems to feel the most at home. He feels like the glue that holds this together. And this is also my favorite Kevin moment on the album too. That pitched up bridge is him doing what he does best. It's catchy, it's memorable, and it's been stuck in my head ever since I heard it. Overall, a top tier Brockhampton track and my favorite song on the album. Next we have Boy Bye, which is probably my second favorite single from Ginger, and I liked it but didn't love it. The instrumental is as weird and exciting as any Brockhampton instrumental, but I think the lack of one defined sound here leads me to my first real problems on Ginger that remain for most of the album. This is one of those songs where I like how it sounds, everyone flows pretty well, but the second I start trying to analyze it and go deeper on it, the whole thing just kind of falls apart for me. I don't know what anyone is trying to say within their verses on this song. Whether it's Dom, Matt, Kevin, or Bareface, I just don't know about these lines. Dom and Kevin are all over the place from one line to the next. The similes from Matt here are just baffling, and this Bareface verse may have worked in a different context for me, but just not here. So long story short, I can throw this song on and enjoy it and have fun with it, but I just gotta turn my brain off completely. This exotic instrumental combined with Dom talking about his depression and then Matt delivering that Elmer Fudd line afterwards is just, I don't know. It's a really puzzling song. Next is Heaven Belongs to You, and this is just Slow Tie, which is a new idea for a Brockhampton album. It's a fun, grimy little performance from him. I like it, but it's pretty short, so I don't have a whole lot to say here. Probably my favorite thing about this song is how we can hear the instrumental start to use bits and pieces of the stuff from the next two tracks. I love a good motif, and at least production-wise, it's a great way to make the album feel balanced, like it's one concrete idea that branches off into other places throughout the project. Track number 5 is St. Percy, and this is one of my favorites on the album. It's aggressive, confident, braggadocious, and again, Brockhampton succeeds when everyone is on the same page. I'm not sure if anybody else has mentioned this, but it does feel like a sequel to Saturation 1's Heat, which is one of the best Brockhampton songs ever. And this isn't quite there, but it isn't too far away from the original, in my opinion. I think Kevin's rapping verses can be pretty hit or miss, and this one definitely works for me. It's bold and self-assured. Matt's good, Dom's good, Bareface does a similar thing here that he did on Boy Bye, and I'm 100% on board with it on this song. And that outro from Merlin couldn't be better. If anything, I don't know how I feel about that sampled chorus. It reminded me of Kanye's On Sight, where you put two drastically different things next to one another and see how it feels, and I don't know. Here on St. Percy, I just don't know if that juxtaposition is drastic enough. If they're going for some big, distracting contrast, I think they could have gone more extreme. I already talked about If You Pray Right in my review of the first two singles, but I'll sum it up here with a positive update. When it came out, I loved the verses and hated the instrumental. Something about the mixing of those horns and drums just felt pretty obnoxious to me. I don't know if anyone can confirm this, but I got a lot of comments saying that the mixing on the music video is different than what's on streaming services, and I think you guys are right. When I made that review, I had only listened to it from the music video, so my apologies there, and I think this song does sound better in the context of the album. It's not night and day better, the difference isn't huge, but it has grown on me. If I was gonna single someone out for having a great performance, I think Dom killed it on this song. Next up, we have Dearly Departed, and I feel like I can copy and paste exactly what I said when I was reviewing Corpus Christi from Arizona Baby. I think this song is important, it's deeply intense and emotional, but I don't think I'm ever gonna sit down and be like, oh, you know what I want to listen to right now? Dearly Departed. The lyrics and subject matter focus on the departure of Amir Van from the group, and like I said, it's important. I'm glad they're getting this stuff off their chests, but a majority of this song just doesn't really interest me as a song. With that being said, there's one verse on here that bypasses the rest of the awkward flows that are trying to rap over this very slow instrumental, and that's Dom. His verse on here is so powerful, it's so shocking and emotional that if I do feel like throwing this song on, it's gonna be because of him. I've Been Born Again was my least favorite of the singles. It felt clunky, the verses were uninspired, and this is a prime example of the members of the group feeling scattered. I keep talking about the importance of everyone being on the same page, of creating a focused song and building off of one concrete idea, and this song is anything but that. I don't hate it, but it just feels like a throwaway for me. I'm really glad that I do like this album because this was the first single for some reason, and everybody online that I've seen talking about it would agree that this is not one of their stronger tracks. Next up, we have the title track of Ginger, and I like this one a lot. You've heard me talk about chemistry enough already, but yes, this is a focused, one concept, one main idea, one sound track, and I think it's great. The song is cool because it really makes me think of the whole evolution of the group from beginning to end. The high-pitched vocals make me think of Saturation 1, but some of the instrumental, specifically the drums, remind me of Iridescence. The boys kept talking about Ginger having a specific sound, and I think this song, No Halo, and Sugar are the ones that stand out for me in that regard. It's a melancholic, poppy feeling where it might be sad, but you're on the recovery from that sadness. Things are starting to look up. Big Boy is my least favorite song on this album. Kevin's chorus is clunky. I'd be hard-pressed to find a Brockhampton verse that I dislike more than his verse here. Bareface is pretty forgettable on this song for me. Joba's verse is solid, but I definitely don't like his bridge that follows. Unfortunately, my negativity keeps coming with Love Me for Life. This instrumental is annoying. The voices saying right, 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 right over and over again is distracting. And then I don't know what those super high-pitched noises are, but they sound like nails on a chalkboard for me. Kevin's verse is pretty sleepy and boring, it goes on forever, and then as the track goes on, we get back to my main complaint about the songs that I don't like. For me at least, the verses here just don't go together. I don't want to dwell on the bad stuff for too long, but yeah, Not a fan of this one. The final song on Ginger is called Victor Roberts, and it mainly features the titular Victor Roberts. Over the course of this song, he's doing more of a spoken word thing than rapping, and I think it's a refreshing change of pace. It's good storytelling, and I appreciate them trying these new ideas. After Victor's verse, we get Ryan Beatty and Bareface going back and forth, and I think it's a good way to end the album. It fits in well with that whole Ginger sound that I mentioned earlier. It's coming from a sad place, but it's optimistic. Overall, I like this album. When the boys come together, specifically within those songs that revolve around that Ginger sound, things are great. The chemistry is high, everything feels well coordinated and tightly knit. What I realized after my first listen is that these songs I'm talking about are all mostly those poppier Ryan Beatty, Bareface kinds of songs. Now, is it a problem that these are my favorite songs on the album? No, but the problem comes when you look at all the other stuff on the album that doesn't seem to quite hit the mark. On other Brockhampton albums, specifically the Saturation Trilogy, I loved the Bleaches and Rentals and all the poppier stuff, but I also loved most of the other different kinds of songs they would make. The Golds, the Junkies, Sweet, Sister Nation, and then on Iridescence there was New Orleans, Tanya, San Marcos, etc. But on Ginger, I had a harder time trying to vibe with the stuff that wasn't correlated with that Ginger sound and also that grimy section of the album with tracks 4 and 5. Once they deviated from those sounds and tried making other types of songs, they didn't feel up to par. It felt like a lack of communication or something like that. I don't know. There was good and bad on this album, and the bad felt a little worse than usual Brockhampton stuff. My favorite songs on the project are Sugar, No Halo, Ginger, and then those aggressive bangers of St. Percy and Heaven Belongs to You. I'm not sure if I have any real standout performers or people that stood out in a bad way. It seemed like if one person was on point, everyone was on point, and vice versa. If I had to pick a shining star of Ginger, it'd probably be Dom, or maybe Bareface with all of his great vocals. The boys still clearly have the ability to make good music. There are great songs on this thing, but when it comes to a full album, they've proven to us before that they can do a lot better. Hey everybody, thank you for watching that video. Let me know what you thought of Ginger down below. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at RenshawHS. You can buy my merch, support my Patreon, and thank you again. I'll see you soon.